So the posts have been drawn for Kentucky Derby 150. Hopefully, my old Kentucky home got you into Derby fever. If you weren't already, I'm sure you've already got it, as I do. But I thought it was a nice touch just to get add a little something. So let's take a look at the post positions. We can see that not to be no surprise that Fierceness and Sierra Leone would be the shortest prices on the field. And the nice thing about that, of course, is that it opens up value for a lot of other horses. Most notably, Honor Marie at 20-1, I think, is outstanding value, as well as Encino. Those are really solid prices, and I think we and a couple of them are going to turn into underlays mainly because of their post positions, which we'll get into in a second. But just looking at this field, I think Honor Marie and Encino certainly offer the best value. Just Steel is pretty good too at 20-1. But again, with short prices, we knew we'd get value in good places for us. So those of you who have watched my videos before, you know for races I like to break them down by running style to get a better feel for the race shape. So we've got E, the horses who need the lead or want to get on the lead. EP, the horses who will stalk, be just behind them. And then P is our mid-pack type of runners, as well as S, which are closers. And one of the things about this race, it seemed to be dominated by early runners in the prep races, or the late runners, I should say. But look now at how many pace pressers, EPs, we have. So I think that pretty much assures that we are going to have some pace in this race. Now, especially since I think Dornoch and Track Phantom in particular want to slow it down. They want to settle and try to walk home, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that. So I think it's a tremendous disadvantage for either of them. Especially when you consider, I think T.O. Password may be another Summer is Tomorrow from a couple of years ago. Some of you may remember the Japanese horse. He just bolted from the gate and ran a suicidal pace early on. Now, I don't know that T.O. Password is necessarily the kind of horse who can do that, but I would consider his chances to be pretty hopeless in this race, so why not do it? The pace scenario, given particularly all the pressers, I think it's going to be maybe a little quicker than certainly the front runners want, and I think that'll probably spell doom for them. But those of the pace pressers who have the stamina to stick around, they may be tactically able to get a first jump on the later runners who are the most prominent in this race. Sierra Leone, Catching Freedom, and Honor Marie are probably three of the most significant horses in this race. So if we look at the winners and the losers, if you look over at the positives, I think Just a Touch, Encino, Forever Young, and Fierceness, yes, Fierceness, are all in very good positions as pace pressers. Fierceness, we know that he's a horse who kind of needs things his own way, and he's had trouble dealing with adversity. Well, in the 17 hole, he's kind of free of trouble. Now, he's going to have to hustle. There's no doubt about it to get to where he wants to, but this horse is certainly capable of that. And the only thing he's got to really worry about is maybe Stronghold of Resilience trying to cut over and shut him off. But, I don't know that either of them would really want to do that. So that may offer an alley to Fierceness to get exactly to where he wants to. And if that's the case, and he's in the position, if he's up to it, which, again, there's question marks about Fierceness, then he's got a very good chance from that place. So 17 hole, yes, I know no horse from the 17 hole has ever won, but if anybody's going to do it, I would think it would be Fierceness. So I consider it to be a positive post position. Mystic Dan in the 3 hole, you may question that one as well, but if you think about it, if you watch his races, he's always trying to save ground on the rail. Well, what better place to be than the 3 hole when we know Dornoch is probably going to get gunned to the lead because he has to, and Sierra Leone's not going to be in any hurry. So that should allow Mystic Dan to get in a very good ground saving position. He's certainly going to have to pick his way through, but every horse in the Derby has to do that. So I think it's a pretty good position for him. Just Steel is the 6th hole is a pretty good place to be. It will offer him a place to save some ground, and he should be able to get to where he wants to. And again, he'll have to work out a trip, but again, they all do. But this does allow him to save ground, and that's vital in the Derby. Now, if we look at the negatives, nobody wants the rail in the Derby. It's not that as big a deal as it was before, because with the 20-horse gate, without the auxiliary, they are able to put it closer to the rail, so you don't necessarily have that gap that you used to. But still, it's still, there's a lot of potential for problems there. If he doesn't break well, he's obviously going to get creamed or be shut off and not get to where he wants to. So it maybe isn't as much a negative as it was before, but you'd still have to consider it a negative because he's just going to be under such pressure to get out of the gate quickly and gun it and get up to the lead. And a horse with as many quirks and problems as Dornoch has, I think, maybe to the outside might be a little better option for him. But I could go either way with it. The fact that he's going to have to gun it and say he'll be able to save ground might be a positive too, but I tend to believe it's a little bit of a negative. Domestic Product, I think, is going to need to save all the ground he possibly can. I think he's pedigree-wise, I don't think 1.25 miles is what he wants. It's a really big question mark. So he is going to have to hustle early on to get to where he wants to, and that's expending quite a bit of energy, and he needs to save all of that he can get. So I consider that to be a negative. Stronghold and Resilience shouldn't be a big surprise being that far out. Really up against it. They're going to have to work awful hard early to get into that stalking position that they want to be in, and particularly for Stronghold, given the fact that his speed figures are a little light. That makes me wonder if, not wonder, but I think he's really going to have difficulty. And what was a pretty good price at 20-1 with a better post position, now I think he's almost an underlay. So hopefully his price will drift way up. And he is a horse who likes to win, and he is consistent. But this may be a little bit bigger challenge to the outside. So we'll, I want big odds if I'm going to use him. Resilience, I think, is really up against it in the 19 hole. You can't get any way around it. For what he wants to do, he wants to be up near the pace. That's the way he ran in the Risen Star. That's the way he ran in the Wood. So I don't know if he, and again, he's a horse who also has to get faster, and expending a lot of energy early may doom his chances. And I think it's 20-1 was a pretty good price on him, and now actually he looks like an underlay. Unless we can get he drifts up and get some really big odds, he'd probably be a toss from that post to me. Society Man, I don't think he's going to be any hurry to get into position. I think they'll probably keep him back and try to make one run, but the 20 hole is never a good spot unless you're Big Brown, where you're just better than the rest of the horses. He's not. So, given the fact that he's probably going to want to take back anyway, maybe it's not quite as bad a negative as it might be for horses who want to be really keen to get up near the lead, but the 20 hole just generally isn't a very good place to be. Now, Sierra Leone is in the 2 hole, and we know he doesn't want to, he's not going to want to get up near the leaders. He's not going to have to really hustle too much out of the gate. But from the 2 hole, he's got 2 other closers who have the outside edge on him in Catching Freedom and Honor Marie. And then you have to think about horses like Society Man or West Saratoga, horses who are going to probably want to lay at the back and try to make a run just to get up for a ticket. So he is going to have to pick his way through maybe a little bit more than the other horses. So he's going to lose more ground because he's probably going to have to swing all the way wide as he has been doing. And he is a horse who kind of has that freight train effect of being just, once he gets going, you don't want to stop him. And this would make it a little difficult, in my view, in the 2-hole. Now, it's not, for a closer, it isn't as bad if you go back a few years to looking at Lee from the 1-hole, was able to get third. But, Sierra Leone, we want to win this race. And so, and certainly his connections do too. So I just think maybe it's a little bit more challenging. It's not a big negative. I don't want to stress that, but it's something to think about, especially at 3-1, that he is going to, he's going to have to work out a lot more of a trip, and he won't be able to get in the clear quite as easily as perhaps Catching Freedom or Honor Marie. So that's the way I see the post positions, and certainly would love to hear your thoughts. I'm very interested, of course, always to hear from you guys. Y'all have been great with your comments, which I very much appreciate. If I haven't said it by now, I should now. I really, probably 99% have been positive, and I really appreciate it. And I don't mind criticism either, and I consider it to be constructive. And just as long as you're polite and respectful, all is good. So there we go. We have our post positions. We will have our final assessment very soon, so be on the lookout for that. And then we'll get into ticket structure, maybe some wagering. And again, I haven't discounted having a live Q&A. If you guys want to do it, let me know if that's something you'd like, and we will entertain that. And we're going to have Full Oaks coverage as well. And hopefully, if we have time, we will get into the full card of Churchill Downs, and there should be a ton of opportunities there. Aside from the Derby, a Derby undercard always offers a lot of value. So we'll have quite a bit more coverage this week. It's going to be a busy one, so fasten your seatbelts. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I hope this helps you with your own analysis as always. And we'll be talking soon. And until then, be well.